The rules are simple, but the challenge is great. Our gold boom medal winners from the Island Underdog series will be tested individually on their ability to navigate the most difficult part of the Overseer boss fight, the Tek Cave. 21 of each species will make the perilous hike through the entire cave and receive a pass or fail score based off how well they perform. They won't be graded on their ability to kill creatures in the cave, just their ability to navigate it. You shouldn't use your long conga line to engage the enemy during the journey down. You should always bring strong Rexes or Spinos that you don't mind losing to clear the way for your fighters. The Tek Cave has a lot of Uranus in it, and the Rex and Spino are immune to their fear roar. The stats used in this challenge were the exact same used in the Underdog series. I encourage you to go check those out if you haven't. Each creature is packing around 23,000 health and 1,200 melee. They will be tested against the Gamma, Beta, then Alpha Overseer, and they are going to succeed or fail as a team today. Now let's introduce our competitors and see if they have what it takes. Allosaurus, Chalicotherium, Dire Bear, Megaloceros, Stegosaurus, Sarco, and of course, Commander Utes and Lieutenant Hogglesworth. The Overseer fight will be completed with 4 of each species, 2 male and 2 female, Commander Utes and Lieutenant Hogglesworth. The only caveat to this is the Megaloceros. There's going to be 4 males and 1 single female for a total of 27 creatures going into the Overseer fights. Heading over to the Tek Cave, if you're on an unofficial server that allows building in the volcano area, then I'd recommend covering the lava pit inside the volcano with ceilings to make entering the cave a lot easier. You may only need around 20 creatures to kill the Overseer, but there's no guarantee all 20 are going to survive the journey down, so it's important that you get this right the first time. On official, you're going to need to make a long line that wraps up the path leading out of the volcano, and you're going to need to run back on foot a few times to help get everything inside the cave. All creatures succeeded in getting all 21 of their species inside the door of the Tek Cave. You have 5 minutes to get everyone inside. Back in ASE, this was actually kind of challenging, and very, very frustrating. The first part of the Tek Cave is relatively easy, but after the first couple of turns, you're going to hit some areas that are going to really test your patience. As you can see in the various clips that I'm showing you, the creatures that have a wide turn radius struggle during this journey. You really need to take your time and make a lot of corrections. Keep in mind, during a normal run-through, you're going to have to journey ahead of your group. Kill creatures, then return back and move your group up. You have 60 minutes to complete the Tek Cave on official servers. This may seem like a lot of time, but you're going to have to push the limits of it if you're not used to doing it, or if you're using slow creatures like the Stegosaurus. This area of the Tek Cave was the most challenging for the creatures to navigate. This area was very difficult in ASE, and I will say that the navigation in ASA is much better. Unfortunately, some of the groups did lose some creatures at this very spot, and only this spot. I highly recommend you take this area slow and be very methodical with your movements. All in all, in regards to the Tek Cave and the AI-controlled creatures, the Megaloceros, Chalicotherium, Dire Bear, and Allosaurus all received a passing score navigating the caves. The star of the show was the Megaloceros. This creature continues to surprise me, and they were fantastic during the navigation of the Tek Cave. The Sarco and Stegosaurus receive a fail, because both times I tried it with them, they lost creatures in the lava pits. The Sarco was by far the worst, and I'd recommend never using them for the Tek Cave unless you have people to help you, maybe move them around in smaller groups. Otherwise, it's just going to be a pain. The Stego wasn't terrible, but it's super slow if the group gets hung up a lot, and you're going to be pushing the 60-minute time limit. You kind of have to sprint ahead to make the Stego sprint too in order to make up good time, but that makes the turning radius completely abysmal, and it causes a lot of issues. Now, I encourage everyone to form their own opinions, because if you really try, and I mean really try, you can get through the Tek Cave with anything if the stats are right. Everything that you see here is just my personal opinion, and after the Overseer fights, I'm going to break down my favorite tames to use for the boss fights based off all the research that's been conducted over the course of the series. So don't go anywhere after the fights, there's a lot of good information at the end. And without further ado, the Overseer fights are up next, and the Under-Allo, Under-Cow, Under-Stego, Under-Croc, Under-Bear, and Under-Deer are all ready to show the world why they should be chosen to be your next boss dino. First up, we have the Gamma Overseer. We're packing alpha boss slaying monsters, and they're chomping at the bit to be able to kill this robotic asshole. This douchebag has been keeping us on this island, and he's the only thing standing between us and the sweet, sweet freedom of the open desert. Honestly, if this shit was real, and I knew that I'd be stuck on scorched earth after beating this guy, hell no. I'd go back to my sweet little tropical paradise on the island with Commander Utes and relax. The Overseer is a fun fight. The music is awesome, and it's the perfect ending to such a difficult time in Ark. All the creatures perform very well in this, with the exception of the stego. I mean, it's great, but the speed on this thing, it's not great at all. If this was just an army of stegos, then I could see there being some issues in the alpha fight when you have to reposition. The Overseer shoots out these lasers occasionally that are going to stun you and your tame while dismounting you. The drones that fly around are mostly harmless. After certain milestones of damage on the Overseer, it's going to transform into one of the island guardians, either the Megapithecus, Dragon, or Broodmother. They're not as difficult as the true guardians, but they do pose a risk, such as the Dragon. That fire breath is the real deal, and even in this Gamma fight, I noticed some relatively banged up carnivores. I anticipated losing some of them during the beta fight or the alpha fight if we make it that far. The Gamma Overseer is a cakewalk though for these guys, and the Underchamps received their first pass. The Beta Overseer is up next, and the Underchamps are ready to repurpose this piece of shit into a toaster. Not a good toaster either. You know, like the ones that do bagels and stuff? Nah, only one slot. One slice of bread at a time that only toasts one side of it. Just a horrible toaster that you buy at Best Buy. It's not even worthy of taking a bath with. The Under Allos and the Underdeer are crushing it in these fights in regards to sticking with the Overseer. Honestly, I had no concerns the entire time during the beta fight. It would probably be more appropriate to say that I'm curious. I'm curious about how often the Overseer turns into the certain bosses, specifically the Dragon. The Robo Dragon during the Overseer fight isn't huge, so you can't do the strategy that I use during the regular Dragon fights, which makes things interesting. Fortunately, they don't have as much health as their real-life counterparts. It's probably because the Overseer just sits up here in a stupid map room all day not studying anything. He just plays Pong with his balls while staring at the survivors through his AI creeper goggles. He's such a dirty pervert. It makes Commander Utes jealous. At least, it would make Commander Utes jealous if he could even have those feelings anymore. This morning I caught him licking organic polymer again. All the deaths during his series really have taken their toll on that poor guy. The Beta Overseer doesn't put up much of a fight, and the Underchamps are able to take him down relatively easily, earning a second pass. The Alpha Overseer is up next, and I was confident, baby. Real confident. But I do admit there was maybe a smidge of doubt. Not much doubt, though, because 3 of our creatures use veggie cakes, and even if the Dragon buries the Under Allo, the Under Croc, and the Underbear, no problem. The Undercows hit like trucks, the Underdeer are relentless, and if the Understego catches the Overseer, they pack a hell of a punch. Now, after doing the Overseer fight over the years with Rexes, Therazinos, and on foot, I have learned a few things. First off, the timer. When you enter this fight on a public server, you're going to have a timer at the top. That timer is just for the Tek Cave. It has no effect on the Overseer fight itself. When I did this fight with just shotguns and no dinos, the Overseer turns into the Guardians way more frequently than you see here. So that leads me to believe that it's not just when the Overseer has certain percentages of health left. I think there's a time factor in there too. The Alpha Overseer puts up a good fight, but the damage output from the Underchamps is just too much for him. He does kill off one allosaurus in the end, but the squad gets it done, wiping the floor with the Overseer on all difficulties and proving that all 6 of them are viable boss dinos for the island.
Is this what happiness felt like? Love? No. This is more like pride. Yes, that's it. I'm proud of you, Survivor. You've accomplished what few have. You've ascended. I once did too, when I was her. Helena. She was an explorer too. And like you, she traveled the arcs and discovered their secrets. You're following in her footsteps. Keep going. Discover what became of Helena and her friends. Survive the many challenges ahead, and you'll find me here waiting for you. Together, we may yet be able to save our world.
So there I was, whizzing through the sky, when this sparkly lady flies right up alongside me, and she tells me, "Bob, you're the greatest guy ever. You have to stay alive so you can save everyone."
How are you supposed to save a whole world all by yourself?
Well, now, I did have a little help from my friends. Little Miss Professor here, and the doc there. But maybe that's a story for another time. I mean, you gotta have some chores to get back to, right?
I already did them, I swear.
Great. Guess I'll just, keep retelling these true tales about Bob's amazing adventures.
Yeah!
Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking. You may think, oh hey, wait, Boomsmith, there were 8 gold medal winners. Well, not really. You see, the original intent of this series was to showcase creatures that aren't frequently used against the bosses. The Megatherium and Woolly Rhino are far from underdogs, and I never intended to even feature them in the series, but this turned into something far greater than I anticipated, and they wound up getting their own videos. In the end, I wanted to stick with the original intent and spirit of the Underdog Boss Battles series, and decided against using them in this finale. Rest assured though, both of them can wipe the floor with the Overseer no problem, I promise you. Now, as far as the island boss creatures go, I've fought the 3 primary bosses with just about all of them. The Titanoboa can't breed, so that rules out mutations, and the Moschops doesn't attack, so yeah, I've pretty much used all the ones that can be used. Again, before I say that these are my favorite creatures to use for the boss fights, please understand this is just my humble opinion. My decision isn't just based off damage output or health or anything like that. I'm looking at how easy they are to tame, how easy they are to find, breeding times, if they lay eggs or have live births, how easily they maneuver, and if they can actually hit the bosses. Rexes and Therazinos are by far the best, and it's always a hot debate on which one people prefer. I personally believe that the Therazino is the king. The veggie cakes are just too hard to ignore. Next, I'll give it to the chalicotherium and the megatherium. The chalicotherium was one of the biggest surprises for me during the series, and they're truly overlooked by most people. Give them a shot. I highly recommend it. Next, I'd have to give it to the Spino and megaloceros. I'd rank them higher, but they're just not that common on the island. Allosaurus and megaloceros are up next. The megaloceros was a huge surprise for me. They literally beat all of the alpha bosses with only 18 deer. Remember, the female can't attack. And last but not least was the silver medal winner, the Gigantoraptor. I think it's going to be a fun creature to use for boss fights going forward, and it's earned a solid spot on my roster due to its utility. Again, this doesn't mean anything is better than anything else, it's just what I enjoyed using the most. Exactly 120 days ago, the first episode for the Underdog Boss Battle series was released. At the time, my channel only had 235 subscribers. For me, this finale is more than just a wrap-up of the island creatures. It's the end of a major chapter of my life. Since this series came out, my channel has gained 2,232 subscribers, which is absolutely insane to me. That is so huge. To think that all of you amazing people look forward to the videos I create really, really makes me feel amazing. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your support. This isn't the end of the Underdog series by any means. We have the expansion creatures coming up. They're going to be fighting against the island bosses, and I'll be doing Mana Core episodes in the near future too. Oh, and of course, modded creatures are going to be showing face soon as well. I hope you enjoyed this finale and have enjoyed the entire Underdog Boss Battle series. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.